Hi, I'm Di with Sister Chicks Quilting, and welcome to my channel. You've probably noticed that I'm not in my quilting studio. My schedule's changed up a bit. I told you I was going to be working on keepsake quilts, and I have been, but you know what? I hit a wall. Have you ever hit a wall? I just needed a break. Besides, I have a little bit of carpal tunnel going on. I'm going to be making a quilt ladder for my sewing room so I can display quilts and an ironing station. Now the engineer made me a little bit of an iron station before, and I'm going to recover and put it together. I can't wait to show you how to do this. Let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is 2x2 8-foot redwood pieces of wood. They're super lightweight. Get them as straight and with as few knot holes in them as possible. That's the hardest part of this project, is making sure they're straight. You should have seen me at Home Depot checking for straight boards like a boss. You can do it too. Look what my neighbor just gave me over the fence. My work area today is just going to be happy. Isn't this fun? And by the way, those are her roosters that are crowing. I don't have any roosters, but we enjoy them. All right, okay. I want a smooth ladder because it's going to be in my house on my carpet. As it comes from the store, it looks like this. So we put them on the, what's that saw?
Chop saw.
We put them on the chop saw and sliced a little piece off to make them smooth, like, these are awkward, like this. See the difference? The engineer calls this glass smooth, but I don't know. And then he gave me one of these. It's a sanding sponge. You don't need the orbital sander. You can get these at your home improvement store. And I'm just knocking the corners off. Can you see what I'm doing? We want them smooth because coming off of the saw, this is a smooth, and we just want these corners knocked down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on both of these lengths of wood. The first thing we're going to do is cut these 8-foot lengths to the length I want my ladder, which is going to be 84 inches tall. You can cut yours the length you want your ladder, but I have a small sewing room with short ceilings, so 84 inches is my magic number. I want the rungs to be 32 inches, including the sides of the ladder, because that's the space I have in my sewing room. So these are going to represent the two sides of my ladder, and I'm going to butt this piece up to it where I cut the rungs from and measure. Would you pull that, please? Thanks. I'm going to measure out to 32 inches and mark it. Then we're going to cut it, and that's going to give us the perfect size of rungs that we need. See my cut there?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to use the one that I just cut to measure for the next rung. I think I feel like I need a straight edge or something to draw on. Can I? Or, oh, did you see that? You just do this and then flip it. those ends even. So depending on how wide your quilt ladder is, depends on how many rungs you get out of one 8-foot piece of stock. And you know, I'm just letting the engineer cut this because he's faster than I am. And willing. So I appreciate that. We've got them all cut. We're only going to have 5 rungs, so. All right, now we're putting it together. See how fast this is? These are my 2 sides, and I want my ladder rungs to start about 4 inches down. So I've made a mark 4 inches down from the top. I lined the 2 up so they're perfect, and then used a carpenter square to score a line across. I don't think I scored. I think I was trying to be technical. I marked it with a pencil. And then I'm going to make my rungs 18 inches apart. Remember, I have a small house, short ceilings. You can make yours the size you want, so it takes just a little bit of figuring. I would love to have a total 8-foot ladder, but that just won't work. It's going to work when I make one for my living room, but not in my sewing room. I've got them marked. Now I'm going to use the carpenter square so it's true. And I'm making sure my ends are perfectly square together, and they are. And I'm going to go to the first mark. This is actually going to have 5 rungs, but only 4 of them will hold quilts because the 5th one is down here at the bottom. I've given myself a 1.5 feet in between my rungs. On to the next step. I'm going to use the sanding sponge to knock off the edges of the ladder pieces. And another tip, the pencil marks where the rungs are going to go, those go to the inside. The engineer pointed out we want the nicest wood to show and to be on the outside. So that's why we're making sure those are marked to the inside. After this next step, I will have a ladder. All I'll need to do is put a finish on it, let it dry, and hang some quilts. Ooh, I can't wait. The next step is to mark where the rungs are going to go. We have a line already, but I want the rung is going to be this thick. So I want a bottom line. And how I'm going to do that is by lining this up, laying this piece of scrap right on the line, putting the square next to it, removing that, and then scoring a line with the carpenter square. Then I'm going to put an X here and here right on the top because those sides are going to be turned into the, yep. I'm constantly checking to make sure my 2 boards are square. That's what I'm doing. And the reason for the X is because those sides are going to be turned on the inside, and we want the inside marked. So we screw the rungs on the right side. I'm not going to apologize for the roosters crowing, but I wish the dogs would stop barking. We're setting up to drill holes so we can screw the rungs in, and I just had to show you this beautiful blue sky. Isn't it gorgeous? It's what it's like living in Idaho. The engineer drilled holes in here so we can easily set the screws straight so we don't have split wood. Now it's time to glue them up. Let's take a rung. Of course, he has everything fancy. Whoops. Squeeze some glue on it. Just one side?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Here, I'm going to clean up this glue I made a mess of. And where do I put it?
At one of the cross sections.
Okay.
Not that. Let's do the end first.
We're going to do the end. So I'm setting this between the two.
No, horizontally. I can't screw from the bottom that way.
I know. Oh, I'm going to have to change it here. I'm going to have to move my flowers. You can tell that I'm not a great woodworker, but I can get things done. I'm going to turn this. There's 2 knots here and here, and I'm going to turn those down. This top is kind of smooth. Well, there's a knot on the top. This is going to be my top, so I'll aim it like that. Here down?
Yep.
Okay. The next step is to put the other piece on. So I'm going to start by putting glue on the top of each of the rungs. Notice we have the ladder standing up on its side. Spread the glue around. And wipe your finger off.
Go.
There we go.
No, you just go down just a tad more.
Nice. Okay, I have a quilt ladder. Thanks, engineer.
Sure.
I think this gets a little ta-da. Don't you? This is my ironing board. It has big blocks of wood on it, and it fits inside the top of one of those 3-tiered trays. I told the engineer I wanted a flat surface, and so he filled the top with Bondo putty, and we did a couple of times to dry, so it's a lot flatter. But what I'm going to do today so I can use it is cover it with 100% cotton batting. And this is the heat resistant ironing top material from Joann's. And then I'm gonna make it pretty. And I'm gonna put this on top. Isn't that gorgeous? From Tula Pink's Parisville collection. And it's one of my faves. I wanna iron on something pretty, man. Let's start with cutting out the batting and getting it on. I'm just gonna cut a piece off. I think I want 2, maybe 3 layers. Okay. Now, batting has a right and a wrong side. This is the wrong side with the little bumps on it, and this is the right side that's a little fluffier. So I want to cut it so the right side is facing up. It looks like I'm only going to get 2 pieces, which is fine. Then I'm going to lay the batting down with the right side, the top, or the right side facing down. And I'm just going to use a staple gun and staple it down, tack it down in a few places. Now, the engineer made me this table the size that I requested because I have a certain spot for it and I want it to go in a certain place. Great surface. I'm getting excited. Do I want this selvage with the little rats on it and Tula's name? You bet I do. I have never cut a selvage with scissors before. This one will be easy to do because I can follow the design of the fabric. I don't want this fold line in the fabric, so I'm going to go iron it. Now I'm just going to lay this on and cut. Let's see, giving myself about this much fabric. What I want to do is make sure it's going to be square. The other two designs I didn't really care about because there was no design and they're going to be covered. So I'm going to make sure this edge down here is going along the same line in the fabric, and that one is the same. Wow, it's a little crooked. Okay, I think that's close enough for government work. So I'm going to try and not trim any Tula. So what I'm going to do is just fold it up and bring it over, finger press it. Do the same to this side. Looking good. Let's check it out. Oh, yummy, yummy. Let me get those corners down. Ta-da! Isn't that gorgeous? My new ironing table, and it'll fit right in the top of my 3-tiered tray. This is my sewing area. Look what I have over here. It's my new quilt ladder. Now, a couple of things. The curtains are coming down. I've actually ordered some blinds. I'm going to be doing a little remodeling up here, and we'll take the curtains down and put blinds inside the sash, so there's going to be a lot of space. That's why I made my quilt ladder as wide as I did. Plus, I've got some big quilts. I love it. Can I just tell you, I love it. I was sitting here the other day thinking, I need a ladder for this space because I want the color from it. Now I want to show you another problem area I have in my sewing room. It is this closet. Yep, it's pretty gruesome. I just haven't got around to it this summer, but I'm going to knock out the frame around the closet, then have my brother build cabinets in it. That's why I cut the frame off before I laid the carpet, because I didn't want to have to piece it. And so, as you can see, this is my sewing area right here. And you know what? I have to get up and come to the ironing table. I would love to have a sewing table right by me, and that's what I've got. I made it right here today. Let me show you my new ironing station. It tucks right back in the corner out of the way, and I can pull it out and put it right next to me when I'm sewing. I've already ordered the traveling Oliso iron, in aqua. This is going to be my ironing supply tray right here. Below, I've just put some fabric in it and stuff I haven't done. I have a quilt I need to do, some extra fabric I haven't filed away. I know I'm going to find a use for it. You always do. But this is what I made today. You saw how it works. It just sits in this top tray. I'll be able to iron right here. Thank you, Gwen Malinowski and Peggy G, for buying me cups of tea. It does support my channel and it helps me continue to put videos out. There's a couple of items I'd like to run by you, and the first one is my retreat. The dates are booked and set in stone, and it's going to be next April the 24th through the 27th. It's going to be in Albion, Idaho again. You can't register until the 1st of August. Sorry, working on some setup issues here. However, if you go into my community tab on my page, Sister Chicks Quilting, there is a post with a link. Click on that link if you haven't already, because you can sign up to get information about my quilt retreat. What will happen is everybody will get the same email at the same time, so you'll all have the same chance. I do have 20 spots. I want to thank Darlene Ross. She taught me about poverty piecing, or actually she named what I was doing. I already do it. That is where you piece together smaller pieces of fabric to make a larger piece so you can get the cut the pattern calls for. Thanks, Darlene, for pointing that out. It's a new term, poverty piecing, which I'm going to start using. Then Cheryl Schuler, you're Speedy Gonzalez. Hey everybody, she already bought the pattern and is working on this quilt kit already. I think though she already had the panel in her stash. So good luck with it, Cheryl, and email me a picture of it. I think it's so cute. I'd love to see everybody's take on it. Then Scotty Dog. She actually took an online class from Gina Perks, the pattern designer of the Merry Village. I bet it was a lot of fun. And last but not least, Abuela 03. She just became a great grandmother for the first time, a little boy. Congratulations, Abuela. I'm so excited for you. You know, it's all about grandkids in my book. It has been such a fun day making my quilt ladder and my ironing table. I've wanted both of these forever. Let me tell you real quick, there's really no measurements for this. You make it as big as you want it or as small as you want it. I made it to fit the space in my closet. So it's just a piece of wood. You saw how I covered it. I wanted to tell you about these bulky legs. These you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. They're pre-made furniture legs that you just screw on. Of course, the engineer did his thing and rounded them on the edge because he has to do his thing. But that's how they are, screwed in from the top. You know, I may decide that this quilt ladder is too wide for this spot one day, paint it gray, put it in my living room, and make another one for my sewing room. But I will always have a quilt ladder here. I'm so excited, I can't tell you. Now I am going to finish this quilt next week. These are the clothes already cut up for it. This is the keepsake quilt that I told you I was making, and I'll tell you the story about that next week as well. But you know, today it was a high of 103 degrees. It was just so hot, and my sojo was out the door. So that's why we made these in the morning. Now next week, I actually am going to finish the quilt I started for this week. I have a bunch of the clothing already cut out. I can't wait to show you my take on this keepsake quilt for this family. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.